So this is like, if you think about, it's very personal. The first 3 lines are intrapersonal, they call them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the top 3 lines are transpersonal. So meaning, it's going to involve other people. And for a line 5, that means that wide level universalization of like, this is everything that has been gathered so far and bringing it out to as many people as possible kind of thing. Human design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, human design specialist.
And I'm Haley, the human design newbie. Listen in as we explore how leaning into your authentic self is your ultimate path to success. Welcome to the Human Design High podcast. Let's get into it.
Well, hello there, Haley. How are you?
Hello.
My darling girl.
How are you?
Good. So, how have you been?
Yes. Yeah. Good. We had 2 of Presley's friends in town the past weekend. And that was fun. Did some hikes. We did a 4-mile hike. Yeah. It was like a 4-mile hike, and we went to Cheyenne Mountain.
So in the mountains.
Yeah, we went. It was off Gold Camp Road.
I do.
You know that one? Yeah. It was a nice hike. It was very steep. There was parts that was very
steeper
steep.
than that one we did.
I was just trying not to die.
Yes, obviously, because you're trying not to die. When we did the steep one, I was like, "There's Haley and Presley. Haley, off. There they go." Your lovely father was staying with me. But to be fair, I had just busted my ass a week or so before we saw you. Yep. Just walking across my living room floor, sprained my ankle and busted my knee. The graceful creature that I am.
Yeah. Yes, that was unfortunate. But no, parts of this trail, they were steep, but then they were also like, I swear you could stand with both feet next to each other, and that was as wide as the trail was. And like, it was pretty steep drop off the side. So I'm like trying not to freak out about that too.
You should be a little concerned about that, especially with your dog, who can be. Oh, well,
Presley had the dog,
rambunctious.
So I just had to contain myself.
This is true.
There was one time where I slipped, and I was like, "Okay."
Well, how far?
Okay.
How far would you tumble?
But then, so we did that. Oh, some parts it was like far, and there was like, and it was like off the side. It was just the loose gravel. So it was also like there
that's what I was
like
saying. Surely there was a tree to throw yourself around.
If there's like a tree or like brush on the downslope, like I'm okay. I'm not as freaked out about it. But this was just like more gravel. It was like
that must have been kind of high up.
But it was still a fun hike.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah. So we did that, and then we went downtown Friday night, downtown Springs. Went to Phantom Canyon, played pool for a while. That was fun. And then they were flying out Sunday midday, so we stayed Saturday night in Denver. And we went to this place called Putt Shack, which is like a fancier indoor putt. It was fun. The like balls have a sensor in them, so you don't have to like count your shots or anything. It does it for you. And like each game,
wait a minute.
Hole
how much
like
fun is putt if you're not fighting over like who actually has how many shots? Isn't that like half of it? It's like, no, that was 4. No, it was 5.
Well, this one was point based. So you wanted to have higher points, and if you like, and else each hole was like a different little mini game. Like one was Trivial Pursuit. You like did your first shot, and it went into this spot. There was like 4 different spots, and it would pick what category you're answering. And then on like the other side of that green, it had like 2 holes. So like you would like one was A and one was B. So you like picked your answer, and if you got it right, you got extra points. And if you didn't, it took away points. But so they were all kind of like that. So it was like a little different.
Here. I'll start taking away points for you. Maybe I'll start paying attention. Not fair.
No, I do pay attention.
You do.
But so we did that. We played one round of that, and then we walked outside of the place and took a right, and we were walking past this place. It's called Yardbird. And this girl, she's like, "Are you guys coming to the event? Did you guys RSVP for the event?" And we're like, "No, what is it?" And she's like, "Well, you don't really have to do anything. We just like need you to RSVP and show us this thing, and it's free food and free drinks." And we're like, "Say less." So we like quickly RSVP'd and then went in, and immediately they have drinks coming around on trays. Actually, but it was their opening night, so they wanted as many people as they could in there. Oh my God, this food was so good. It was so good. The first thing we had.
Shout out to Yardbirds in Denver.
They have like 7.
We'll contact them.
Yeah. Highly recommend. But the first thing we had was this rib that was so tender and so flavorful. It was so good. And then I got this little like brisket slider thing. And then as we were getting that little food, it started pouring. So we had to run back inside, and we're like half soaking wet eating these ribs. They were so good. I've been waiting to tell you about this food.
I didn't know everybody else would get to hear about it too. I feel a little bad if they didn't want to hear about that.
But anyways, it was so good.
Anyways, well,
Yeah,
I didn't have as much excitement. Got my hopefully last kid off to college. I don't think I'm taking any more, but which we've been in touch with you with that. But we were excited to hear that for everybody listening, that Lakeland, is going to school and she's living in the dorms. It's not very far away. It's like 25 half hour, away, but she's going to have the college life, campus life, because Coastal Carolina University is a self-contained campus. It's not one of these that, intertwines with the downtown area or anything. It's its own campus. And so you don't really need to leave, I think, if you're, there, living there. But she's all moved in. Everything's going great. She's getting along with her suite mates. And then we find out that the suite that she is in is the exact same suite that Haley was in. How many years ago? 8 years ago? Oh my God. 8 years ago, in the same, not the same room, but in the same suite. It's a suite of 5 rooms, and they're in the same room, which was kind of fun. Which I felt, I had a moment of pride where I said, well, it could have been alphabetical because, we both have the last name, Phillips. And then, but you said, no, it's the universe arranged it. And I thought, definitely rubbing off on her. The universe has done its work. I'm like, yes, that's right. It has. So that was a good moment.
You're like, no, it's very logical. It's by last name. I'm like, no.
Well, I thought it was special, but glad you backed that up. Other people might say, like my very logical son, that it was not fate. It was alphabetical order, but come on.
And I know it's not by last name because I remember some of the last names of the other girls in my suite, and we had someone who was a B. Like, yeah.
A B? Anyways, wow, our chitter chatter is just freaking magical today. I don't know. It's hard to just come up with something to chat about that may or may not be interesting to someone else. But I'm sorry if that's not interesting. But you know what?
They are our friends. They want to hear about us.
Yes, I know. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and so do you, but we listen to different kinds of podcasts. And there are some that very few of mine have. No, actually, I think the only one that I listen to that has co-hosts is Smartless. Everything else, a lot of them is single host, usually with guests. So there's not a lot of chit chat at the beginning, but I guess they talk about random stuff too in their day and whatnot, but it may not be the norm for this kind of podcast. But you know what? Aren't we here to talk about how to do things your way, what feels right for you, what makes you unique? And here we are. It's our relationship and how much we enjoy each other's company. We don't get to see each other all the time, but it's okay. We get to see each other soon.
I know.
So much so that
so
I've like
excited.
almost completely thrown away August in my mind. August is like over because I'm already.
I mean, it is like almost over.
Yeah,
Next week it'll be over.
Well, probably by the time they hear this, it is over. So they're gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" You're like,
Yeah.
"Doesn't matter."
I know. We're like weirdly recorded ahead.
No,
We don't.
we don't want to jinx it.
Why?
We don't want to jinx it. We want to make it the norm.
No, this will make us. It'll make us accountable.
It'll hopefully make it the norm. We do have some exciting stuff coming up, but for now, we not that this isn't exciting, and for now, and we are going to continue our line series, moving on to the line 5 today, which kind of excited about. It's a little really is. There's a buildup. You can feel it through the lines. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And now it's like, 5 and 6 is like the big show here. Feels like there's a lot contained in a line 5 and future coming up line 6. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm. I mean, anytime you've told me about line 6, I'm like, it's a big shoes.
Well, we'll get to that next time. we'll let you simmer on that one. But today we're going to talk about line 5, which will be a fun exploration around people that we may know, because obviously I am a 4-1, you are 6-2. We do not have a line 5 in our profiles. But nope. I do. I mean, I'm sure somewhere in your design there is a line 5, and mine as well. I should have looked before we hopped on here. I mean, pretty much everybody has at least one, from what I've seen. I've never seen anybody that absolutely did not have any like line somewhere in their body graph.
Mm-hmm. In their planets.
Yeah, in their body graph. Now, whether or not my computer can look at genetic matrix at the same time, can pull up another website while I'm using this recording software is another thing.
Yeah.
What?
I have 9 tabs open.
I only have this tab that we're on, my Gmail, and now genetic matrix, which... Yeah, I have where you can go on the website. If people out there weren't aware already, you can go on my website, humandesignhive.com, and get a copy of your own body graph. I use genetic matrix, though, to run a lot of client charts and whatnot, because it has a lot of other tools. It's a paid subscription, but it's where I store a lot of stuff. But anyhow, let me see. How many line 5s do you have? Nope.
When we were looking at my graph last time, there was a lot of 3s and 6s.
It's funny because I just made a sweeping generalization about most everybody.
Am I in there?
No, you're in here. But holy shit, you don't have a single line 5 in your chart at all.
I was gonna say, when you said most people have it, I was like, watch me be the one that doesn't. I literally had that thought.
You got a lot of line 2s. You got some line 3s, 4s, 6, 1. Wow.
So I have every other line except for a 5.
You do not have a single line 5 in your chart. That is very interesting. So I guess there's enough projection onto you. I have my unconscious Mars, my conscious North Node, South Node, and my conscious Venus are all in line 5. So we keep that in mind as we chit chat here about the line 5. So the line 5 is interesting because it's said to be the highest line of the hexagram, even though it's not the top line. It says it's the highest line. Do you know why that might be? I'm going to take a drink while you think about
it. The highest line of the hexagram. I mean, no. I mean, maybe there's like a tiny...
Well,
but no.
We have talked about, as we have gone through these lines, that each one kind of builds in it. In a way, it has its, its purpose, its expression. So the line 1 we said was very foundational. The line 2 is more natural process. They don't really use facts or information. They just kind of, it's sort of a knowingness and naturalness. Line 3 is experiment to figure out, does this work? Does this work? Is that true? Is this true? Then we get to the 4th line, which starts externalizing what has been learned through relationships. It's network. And then the line 5 has this, it takes everything in the chart or in that hexagram and takes it to what they call the universal level. So this is like, if you think about, it's very personal. The first 3 lines are intrapersonal, they call them. And then the top 3 lines are transpersonal. So meaning, it's going to involve other people. And for a line 5, that means that wide level universalization of like, this is everything that has been gathered so far and bringing it out to as many people as possible kind of thing. So it's a very high expression. And they also say in the hexagrams themselves, the line 5 in any hexagram is the most, it says highest, but it's the most important line too. It holds the most weight, which I'm not an expert in the I Ching, but I have read this. It says, because it says like, I think it's my 14, the hexagram 14 is all unbroken yang lines, right? Yang lines. And then the 5th line is broken, yen line. And what that means is that, and yen is more the receptive energy, the more feminine energy. And it says in that instance, it's important because it shows all this power, but then it shows that the ultimate power comes from that more receptive place instead of like taking, it's more receiving. Because I think that hexagram, I know that hexagram 14 is possession in great measure, and it's said to be like this, all about the resources and having the right resources, and that it shows that, that's where it really comes from, is from that, receiving. Anyway, so off topic. So
how does that make it, how does the line 5 differ from the line 6? And you said the line 5 is getting to this universal level, but the 6 is kind of like that. So how is it different, and how does it make it?
And we could probably talk about this more in depth when we go into line 6, but it says when you get to the line 6 is always, it has the long view, and it's actually always looking to the next, right? So it's more of like, okay, there's all that, and it can look back and say, this is all that we know, but what's next? Like, so it's more of a, in a way, it's always, looking for that, because they'll say like in the line 6 is more of, okay, we've learned all this. We have brought this forth. We have shared this. It's out there. So what does that all really mean? Because the 6 is going to be about embodying not embodying, but being a expression of what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. Yes, because when we get to the line 6 profile, it is about the line 6 person is someone who is that role model that models, everything that's learned there. So anyways, it's funny. I keep getting this flash up on my screen that says network is struggling. It's not what a line 4 wants to hear. It's talking about my recording software. The Wi-Fi, it's struggling. Maybe it's because your brother came home.
It's struggling.
He's using my network. So anyways, okay. So let me close this window. Okay. So maybe I'm not running so many windows as it struggles. Okay. So the line 5, as we have been discussing these lines, we've done the house analogy. And again, we know that the line 1 is the foundation, right? The floor of the house. Would you like to take over?
Yep. Yes. The line 2 is like the open
Mm-hmm.
windows downstairs. Like they're open, people can see you reach in, which
Nope,
is kind
nope,
of
because
creepy.
they got to
Um,
be able to pull you out. They see you. They're looking for you.
I know they can yeah, that's what I was saying, but if you think about it in an actual house, it's a little creepy. But the line 3, uh let's see, that is the stairs up
Mm-hmm.
to the second level. And the line 4 is the floor of the
Mm-hmm.
second
Mm-hmm.
floor, second level. And then the
Mm-hmm.
line 5 is the windows with the curtains
Right.
drawn.
It's a little
It's closed.
closed off, which there is a
Yes.
purpose for that.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I think you always bring this up too, that the purpose there of the line 5 serves as that, like, they call it a karmic mirror. And I think you have expressed that as well,
Mm-hmm.
that you kind of relate that to being a mirror. Is that something correct?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's anytime we've talked about the line 5, it's like in my head it is like this mirror where people are seeing what they want to see, but it maybe isn't exactly who the line
Exactly.
5
Yeah.
is.
They are naturally, people are naturally drawn to them in that sense, because they really are leaders. They do carry an innate leadership energy to them, because they are, when we think about this universalizing energy, they are people who really, I'm trying to get my thoughts together here. I have so many things to think about at once. They they're here to offer us practical solutions, innovative ideas, practical solutions. They are the people who say, okay, that, may or may not work, they know what to do. And the line 5 with the closed curtains, it carries that projection field, that karmic mirror, as you said, to it,
Mm-hmm.
because they are meant to impact people, so they are going to naturally attract people to them. Where they have to be careful
Mm-hmm.
is if they can actually help the people that are attracted to them. And so you're right, they're not
Mm-hmm.
really truly seen or heard for who they are. There can be false expectations placed upon them from other people, but they are really driven to share their knowledge, their experience. And there's going to be, the profiles are going to be a 3-5, a, wait, sorry, 2-5, 3-5, 5-1, and I just lost 5-3. So no, 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 no. 2-5, 3-5, 5-1, 5-2. That's right. There's four of them. You think I would? I had that earlier, and I was like, wow, where'd that go? Um, and so the the line 5 is similar in ways to the line 2, because that's why they, analogy is like the windows, because they do both have that projection
Mm-hmm.
feel to it, whereas the line 2 is more of that hermiting energy. That projection to them is really more of generally it's a positive projection onto them, like people point out to
Mm-hmm.
them, hey, I think you're really good at this, you can help me with this. Whereas the line 5 tends to
Right.
be like, it's called the heretic.
Why
Yeah.
couldn't you help
Well,
me
it's
with
called the
this?
heretic because for different reasons, because sometimes they offer solutions or ideas that people aren't down with. They might tell you what you need to hear, but
They're
not
like,
what you
nah.
want to hear a lot of times. And so
Mm-hmm.
that could be kind of dicey there. And so as such, if a line 5, especially if they're unaware of their energy, they can tend to hide out. They can tend, that's the closed curtains thing, because they really are kind of
Mm-hmm.
fearful of other people's expectations. I know a lot of people who once they've really discovered that they are a line 5, like everything changes for them, because up until that point, they've kind of lived an existence where they don't really understand why people are always putting their shit on them and blaming them for things that really have nothing to do with them. And it's, very clear to them that it's not of their doing, but people do blame them. Which, when you think that way, you're like, I want to think about everybody I know. Do they have a line 5? Were you going to say something?
I was just going to ask which
3-5.
profile Ian is, because I can never remember.
Yes.
3-5.
And so they can tend to have kind of a shy quality, and they tend to not really reveal their true selves to people because of this hesitancy to, like, basically be, burned at the stake, the heretic, because they quite often, offer new ideas that people aren't ready for, or they just don't want to hear, but they know it's true and they can't really back down from it. And so it can lead them to, or they're offering such newness that the norm is like so opposed to hearing anything like that. They would, the word would have been called a heretic back in the day, of someone who's going against the norm and not following along. And so, like I said, so there's this projection field, there's this seductive quality to them. And so people can sense that those with the line 5 can help them. And so then they project onto them. And so if they can help the person, if they're projecting onto them something that they can help them with, and they are seen as a savior, or someone who's really great. And if they're not, like you said, then they're just like, why didn't you help me? What's going on? I thought you could help me. And it's funny because, we're probably going to talk about your brother a lot, because we know he won't listen to this.
Oh, he'll never listen.
I do know one other person who is a 5-1, and I just won't mention her name, but yes.
Do I know them?
And she had this issue for, she now knows. I mean, she now knows that she's a line 5. Whether or not she's remembering that, and I don't know, but she had a lot of issues with people in her family not agreeing with her about things, because she was on her own kind of healing journey, like physical healing. She had all these issues and she had to make so many lifestyle changes, and around food and everything that went in the home, products, trying to remove as many toxicity, toxic things, toxins as possible. And when she would then interact with her family from back home, there would be a lot of pushback from them. They really just did not want to hear what she had. And she was a projector. They really did not want to hear what she had to say. And she was coming from a place that she really wanted to help. She was, I think I said, she was a 5-1. She knew what she was talking about. And she had the solution to most of these people's problems in a way. I mean, she, wasn't a miracle worker, but she could certainly help.
Right.
And, and they wouldn't have it. And so, when we first talked about her type and profile, it was like, well, there's one reason is, if they're not asking you, don't even bother. They're not going to hear you. And then, really, really know who it is you can help and who you can't, and that would probably be for her as a projector, people that are going to ask her. But she's been very successful in the line 5 sense of affecting people, anywhere. She could, because what do we say about line 5s? They are meant to interact and affect who?
The masses.
No, your favorite term. You always say, oh, I love that term.
It's my favorite term, but I can never remember it. Hold on. Strangers of consequence.
Strangers of consequence. Where me as a line 4, like I'm here to impact my immediate, family, network, friends of friends. It's more, close. There's a relationship that's usually built. Where a line 5, a
More
line
personal.
5 can say something to somebody who's never met them before, see a reel or a TikTok, or, just run into them in a parking lot, and they might tell you one thing that could just absolutely alter that person's, perception, their life, whatever, put them in a whole nother trajectory. Like that's how a line 1 is here to influence people. Oops,
Line
sorry, line
5.
5. You're like my editor at the same time. You're my producer and my editor. And so, yeah. So that's how it happens. That's where there is that seductive quality, because they have to have these people drawn to them, which is what they're meant to do, because they're meant to affect them. But then there's this, sketchy place in between of figuring out who they can, really help or not. And so, of course, that will vary depending on their actual profile, depending if they're paired with a line 2, 3, or 1. So, therefore, since, they could encounter these kind of things where people aren't really receptive to what they have to say, that's going to be an ongoing lesson or challenge for a line 5, is to really not really take other people's opinions personally, and to not let that keep them from getting out there in the world. They have to be out there because they're meant to impact people. And so they have to be visible, even though they don't want to be, especially if they've got a line 2, they don't want to be, but they're going to have to be. And so as such, so let's think about how it could express a little bit differently if it's, an unconscious line 5 or a conscious line 5. Okay. So if you think about the unconscious line 5, so that would mean if you were 2-5 or 3-5. Okay. Right. So
Yes.
this unconscious energy here of this universalizing energy, right? Or this attractive energy. So if you think the unconscious side of your profile is what people are drawn to. So people are going to, it's going to be a little, I don't want to say easier. I don't want anybody to, think I'm playing favorites, but if you are unconsciously drawing people to you as a 2-5, that could be helpful for that too, to kind of help figure out what it is that they're naturally good at, because people will be coming to them saying, hey, with that double projection field, they've got a lot of attention, whether they want it or not, coming their way. And so, that could help that line 2 aspect kind of say, oh, well, yeah, I guess I am kind of good at that, or I never really thought about that, right? But in turn, they're going to need lots of that hermiting time, that line 2 hermiting time. They're going to have to take a lot of that time to make sure that they really are naturally gifted, I guess let's just say, that they really are the one that can then provide solutions for people. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then if it was a 3-5, same thing. People might be coming to them for solutions. And that line 3 is going to be like, well, hang on. Hey, well, okay. Is this really something? Let me, I'm always experimenting, trying to figure out, is it true? Is it true? And, it might be a little bit easier for a 3-5 to figure out what it is they're there to then offer, because they're going to be more active about it, more, like you said, the trial and quote error, of seeing if these projections are true, if they hold weight, and they might be able to figure it out a little bit, I don't know if quicker is the right word, but in a way to have a little bit more data, I guess, than a line 2. Does that?
It's like it's kind of the unconscious 5 projections are kind of bringing ideas and things for the line 3 to then test, because people are bringing, say, hey, can you help me with this or
Yeah,
this?
or also, and not But yeah. And it could be that that conscious line 3 energy of just always being curious and always like questioning and trialing and seeing what happens. You know, they could just be on their own in their conscious side, just exploring life and what their interests are. And then there will be people that are attracted to them with that line 5 that, you know, maybe they start getting a lot of the same projections. They might figure out, oh, okay, yeah, this is something I can definitely, you know, help someone with, or I have ideas. Now, I mean, when we look at your brother, when I think about that, that conscious line 5 or that unconscious line 5 does have a certain draw to it. And it is, people really do see line 5s, feel sense from line 5s, this leadership quality to them. And I forgot to say, in Quantum Human Design, she calls the line 5 the visionary leader, because they can see new possibilities, and they're meant to help lead us in that direction. And so your brother has always reluctantly been put in leadership positions, so to speak. He, I would always say that people feel that from him, and he's been put in positions that he really didn't want to be put in. You know, when you think about scouts or in school or anything like that, where a elder person would, you know, say, hey, Ian is good at this, or he can help someone with this, right? And he could 9 times out of 10, but begrudgingly. He didn't want to do it. It wasn't his gig. He didn't want to have to watch this person or teach this person how to do this. You know, he just wanted to be kind of left alone. And still to this day, it holds true. But and I also think when he tells me about things at work, you know, right now he's not really enjoying his work, but he does have to deal with customers, people coming in that are seeking help with their electronics. That's some of the greatest stories I hear from him, you know, that like people are like, oh my God, they think he is like literally a genius. And he's like, I just turn their phone off and then turn it back on and then everything works. And they're like, oh my God. Or, you know, he helps them figure out how to find their passwords. Some of the most mundane things these people come to him for, but they are just so grateful and they're just drawn in there. And I think he does help draw energy into that place where he's at. Were you going to say something? No. Please say something.
No.
Please. It feels very quiet here. Oopsie.
The amount of times that I make that noise on a given day.
It's like Bart Simpson, is it? Yeah. But they, you know, it feels to me like a line 5. It feels like some big shoes to fill, because they really do carry this transpersonal energy that is committed to, you know, serving humanity, you know, and that sounds like a really big job. But, you know, they're equipped to do it, and they're either going to do it through their own naturalness, through their own experience, or through their own information gathering. And I think I understand. I guess being a 4-1, I understand 5-1s, I think, pretty well. I think there's a different way of how they, you know, go about it. I mean, the 4 is going to be a lot more, they say it's, you know, friendly and it's not afraid to make connections and all that stuff. There's not going to be the same kind of energy coming their way, because it's going to be me reaching out. Hey, you know, this is helpful to you or whatever. You know, there is this more of a receptivity, I guess, maybe, in the sense that I'm, you know, connecting with people that I are more likely to know, or if it's friend of a friend, like they're vouching for me. Whereas the line 5 has the experience of having to really kind of stand out there and say, this is what I know, and this is what I, you know, can offer you. whether you like it or not. Now, when we did the individual, well, not the individual, we did the 3-part series on all the profiles. We talked about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which was a good example about the. I think she's a either a 5'2" or 2'5".
This says
Yeah,
two
I think
five.
she's a 2'5", because when we talked about it, we were talking about how she was in her own process a lot of the times, because she was obviously a Supreme Court justice, but they spend a lot of time having to, you know, she would write a lot of briefs and a lot of opinions and, everything else. But she also offered these, innovative solutions and helped take us in a new direction, with a lot of her work with women's equality and everything and stuff like that. And so, but one thing that the line 5 struggles with is sticking around too long, they say, because, you're meant to impact strangers of consequence. You've got this universalizing energy. You're supposed to like present, and then the best thing they can do is to present their solutions, present what they know, and then almost retreat. Kind of if they were.
I like to call it. They have these mic drop
was a
moments.
Fly. Yeah.
That was a fly.
That was a big fly. Just came through past your screen. Yeah, it is kind of because it's very impactful what it is they share, and it can send people off in a new direction, and they're intended to, to do that. But then, the best thing they can do is then to just kind of either go back to their own experimenting, go back to their investigating, go back to their own, process of how they do things, their naturalness, and wait for the next really time for someone to show up and ask them, for help in a way. But it's a big job there for, and I guess I didn't really talk about. We were talking about the unconscious line. If they were in the conscious line, then they're going to be more aware, I suppose, of that attractive quality that they have. They're going to they probably are more aware. Well, obviously, consciously, of people seeking them out or saying, you can help me with this. And what I always advise line 5s is to really get to know themselves well, get to know what it is that, in their hermiting or in their experimenting or in their studies, know what it is that they really can offer. And I think when we talk about this, we always sound like we're talking about just straight information. It's more than that. It's having relationships with people, of understanding just in your, your close relationships, even this energy is going to be there as well, to know the people around you, what is yours and what is not yours. What is, because people will tend to project. And I look at this a lot between, say, like your dad and Ian, because your dad does tend to, I mean, I guess I'm always looking to see, am I projecting things onto Ian? Am I seeing him as someone who can help me with this? Is this really something he can do, or does he want to do, or any of that stuff? You're like, obviously I'm thinking about a little bit more than your dad is. But I think that's kind of a little bit of the friction there, is him expecting certain things from him that he's not, that he doesn't feel that he's there to deliver, that, or Ian himself does not feel like it's his to deliver, if that makes sense.
I feel like the relationship there with them is a lot of the mirror, because I feel like Daddy does expect Ian to do things that Daddy would expect himself to do. And so then he gets mad when Ian doesn't do them, because Ian's like, why would I do that?
Yeah, kind of. I heard him.
Love them both.
And this is another thing. This is another interesting thing, is that even when Ian does do what his dad wants him to do, it's still never quite like enough. That's the feeling he gets, is that, it's just not enough. And so, and it's not, they don't have like a bad contentious relationship. They get along just fine. But like I heard the other day, because it's It's summertime here. We're in the South. It tends to rain. Things grow fast. So your father, who works 7 days a week outside the house all day long, out on the boat, has asked Ian to help him with keeping the lawn like mowed, right? Which we have a riding lawnmower. It's not so bad, but it's very hot. So it got to the point, okay, it's fine. Ian's doing it twice a week, and then also weed whacking. And he's been doing it every day, every week, twice a week. And then sometimes the weed whacker doesn't work. He can't get it to work. Ian will come and tell me, I'm just letting you know that it's not working. So so that when Dad comes home and sees it's not done, there's a reason. So
it's not just because I didn't do it.
The other day, I heard your dad come home, and I think Ian told him that it got it, what happened. So I think your dad went outside and fixed it. And it's a very temperamental thing, and things never work. So I heard him come in and say to Ian, he's like, so I got the weed whacker fixed. He's like, okay. He's like, so are you going to go ahead and finish the job? And Ian's like, I'll do it the next time I mow the lawn. And I heard your dad say, well, a normal person would probably do it now. And I'm just sitting in my office going, a normal person? What does that mean?
Normal?
A normal person. I was like, don't get involved. Don't get involved. They handled it. But I'm just thinking,
don't you come for him. Don't you come for him.
I'll do it the next time. Because I know I'm like, no, Richard, you're not a normal person.
You're not the normal one here.
Yeah. I mean, he was like, he already did it. It was later in the day. He'd already showered. Like, who wants to go back outside in the 100-degree weather and get all sweaty again and have to repeat the whole thing over again? Yeah. No, I don't know if this fits into line 5 at all now that I'm talking about it. But when you were saying how your father expects certain things from him that, he's not always ready to deliver for him, so I have been trying to pepper conversations with little tidbits of line 5 insight for Ian, as he is still, he's out there looking for a job. He's going to be, getting in new job experiences and people and all this other stuff. I'm trying to kind of let him know about it a little bit, and it's got to be in very small doses. I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, because he'll shut it down.
He was listening to me the other day because we were in the car on the way out to Coastal, because I kind of was asking him questions about how things kind of sometimes pan out for him, and he could see it. And if I just use very kind of broad strokes, and also really peppering it with, like, I use the word pepper now 3 times, with positive things, that I think he can resonate with. He really does resonate with the whole people expecting things from him. He gets that. He feels that, obviously, kind of intensely, because, he said about his job, he said, now he goes, I swear to God, when I told him the thing about being able to, solutions and all this other stuff, he's like, I swear to God, I'm the only one in there that knows how to run a credit card. I was like, what did they do before you worked there?
What is this place?
Been there for like a year. They've been open forever. And he's like, nobody can ever get the credit cards to work. Ian, I was like, Ian, or his boss is texting him all hours of the day, and Ian's just like, oh my God. The guy, sorry, he'll never listen. The guy will give him like a epic passage, in text, and Ian's answer is always, okay.
I have seen them.
Okay. Or he'll give him a 3-word answer that fixes the problem, He is not about fluff. I don't believe line 5s are not about fluff. They are not about beating around the bush. No. They're about, like you said, that mic drop moment, just like, let me go. So anyways, I really hope we covered everything. I
think so. You say that every time.
But it feels like I get kind of lost sometimes, and I'm wondering if I'm getting everything covered. Never
Remember,
mind.
you get into this flow.
I do. So main takeaways for those line fives out there. Avoid hiding. You don't have to hide. You just have to know what you have to offer. People are going to find you.
Mhm.
Don't take their opinions personally if they don't agree with you. You know what your truth is. You know what you know, I believe. And so, it may take some time to get there, but you'll go through your own process. You'll know what it is you have to offer people. And to understand that you are not going to be like everybody else. Of course, none of us are, but you really are meant to impact people in a big way, whether you're aware of it or not. And so I would also say for line five, and this kind of goes to my Course in Miracles work, is to, in this avoid hiding thing for a line five, is like, you never know the impact you're going to have on someone, whether it's you've met them for 5 seconds or 5 days, 5 years, whatever. These people are coming into your aura for a reason. And that, don't hide. Share what it is you know. Talk to people, just see what happens. And then know when to stop talking. Know when to leave. Yeah.
Like, all right, I'm out.
I mean, yeah, you, especially if you're line five, if you have these ideas or these ambitions, or you see yourself as someone who's, you want to stand on a stage and speak, or you feel like you have a platform, or maybe you run for office or do any of these things, know that you have that line five energy backing you up if that's part of your profile. And that it certainly, could be an option for you. If you don't want to, that's fine. You don't have to ever do any of that stuff, but just, make sure you share your wisdom with some of us now and then. We could certainly use it. So, okay. So, well, if we got everything covered there for the line five, which, we're always going to be learning more, but for today, we are going to put a pin in it. We're going to move on then to the
The Incarnation Cross of the Week.
Incarnation Cross
I
of the
totally
Week.
forgot it for a second.
That's right. The Incarnation Cross of the Week.
And
like, today we have the random number generator has given us a juxtaposition cross, Haley. So what does that mean? I'll wait.
It's so, I mean, it's like, I guess technically in between a left angle and a right position.
Who has
like
juxtaposition crosses?
Isn't it?
No.
Is it? Is only
just the singular
profiles,
profile,
right? Or is it just the one?
A 4-1.
Just the one.
There it is.
4-1. No, I couldn't remember if it was like if you had a line.
No, it's just the 4-1, because the 4-1, the juxtaposition, yes, they say it's neither personal nor transpersonal. It does act as a bridge. This one we're talking about now is going to be the juxtaposition cross of the now. Yes. It consists of the sun, personality or conscious sun is in gate 20.
Okay.
Earth is in 34. And then the unconscious is in 37 in the sun, and 40 in the 4. So, in the unconscious earth, sorry. Okay. So if you have this cross, well, you are a 4-1. You're already a very unique individual because you're a 4-1. Only 2% of the planet out there has the 4-1 profiles. So let's just kind of dig in. Okay. So those with this cross, purpose here is to focus on the present moment and pay attention to its details, even if you sometimes struggle to remember everything. You are fully absorbed in the now and may not always notice what's happening around you. Your mission is to create strong community agreements based on authentic communication and a healthy sense of self-worth. Self-worth. That's a hard word to say. You aim to promote peaceful agreements that value life and empower all community members. You teach others how to be empowered express themselves authentically, and find solutions that benefit everyone. Your leadership is important in shaping a fair and empowered community. Trust in your ability to make a positive impact and inspire others to embrace their worth and contribute to a harmonious world. So this person in particular then is a manifest. And then the 3420 creates a channel, which is the sacral, straight to the throat. So it's a very fast energy, and it's in the now, and it's leading with the gate 20 is in the sun. So that is very much your energy. Like I said, here is about present moment and just kind of that. But then also the 3740, the other gates here, they are a channel as well that connects the emotional solar plexus to the will center. And that's all about tribal energy and what's best for the tribe. And so, community agreements. And so, and so this person would also, probably agreements. It's going to be that it's hard for an emotional manifesting generator, someone to have that quick 3420 energy, but also have to wait to make decisions. A little bit, but so you can see in that description how it kind of touches on all the, themes there of community, but also there's some individuality there and presence, and so that's it for this week. So anyway, there we go for today.
Yes.
You're welcome. All right. Well, we'll catch you in the next one when we talk about the line 6. But for now, we're going to say au revoir, and y'all have a great evening. Bye, Haley.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.